Right, hi guys. I just wanted to make this video because I'm currently learning how to do the colouring mesh by velocity slash vorticity in Frost Krakatoa with Realflow particles, Realflow simulations. So here was my first test I did last night. This is the first test I've ever done, so obviously it looks really crap. But you can see when the water's travelling fast, it's white, and when it's not so fast, it's blue. So I'm just going to show you this setup, and hopefully this is the right way of doing it. I know there's actually, I spoke to a lot of people who do different ways using, some people use subsurface scattering shaders, people have used it in the diffuse slot, just using a basic water shader. This is my way of doing it. I'm not sure if it's the right way, but it's working for me so far. So after some more testing we'll see if it is the right way, but for now this is the setup. So basically, first of all, I'm going to import my Realflow particles using a Krakatoa PRT loader. See PRT particles here. Bring them in. Okay. Then, because of the Realflow axis alignment slash whatever, I've got to rechange it so it fits in max. So first of all, make sure it's 0, 0, 0 on the transform, and then on the rotation needs to be X 90, and then scale needs to be negative 100. Okay. So now I'll just change the percentage of render to 100 because in this sim we only have 23,000 particles because it was done for another test, like just low res testing. So that means I can preview all of them in the viewport without much lag, really. You can see here's all the particles. Actually goes up to 130 frames. So I'll just adjust my time. It should be on 24 FPS, but we'll just leave that for now. Okay. So you see the particles. Okay, we'll just get rid of the Krakatoa icon because it's quite distracting. We'll leave the bounding box there just so we can see that it is the Krakatoa loader. So next, what I do is I go and add a Magma modifier on, not to be confused with the KCM modifier. Okay, so Magma, and then open Magma, and then this awesome setup that Fabian helped me out with. Just add it in, and you can see the black is the particles that are not going so fast, and then white is the max range of when the particles are at high speed. So this is the setup. You can just have a quick look. Credit goes to Fabian on this. I did do an old setup with Krakatoa 1.6, but it wouldn't work with the Frost vertex mapping. So again, there you go. I'm just going to leave the values here. You can see, obviously, max min range is black, max range is white, and that's important not to be blue and white. It's got to be black and white because that's going to affect the refraction. But we'll tell you about that later on. Okay, so now I'm happy with that. What we're going to do is I'm going to go in and add a frost icon in. Okay. So I'm just going to bring the icon size up so I can see it better. Okay. Okay, so particle objects, we just pick the PRT loader. I mean, and that's just lovely looking mesh, looks really realistic. Nah. So we need to do some changes to the mesh, obviously, so we can get it decent. So I'm going to switch to Zoom Bridson. So Bridson is actually a mesh type developed by, I think it was one of the people who co-developed Naiad, and it's a really quick way of meshing particles. It's a lot like anastrophic, apart from it's a lot quicker. Anastrophic does give you more details, but obviously it depends how long you've got to render and sim. So anyway, I'm going to bring the radius down to 0.5 for now. Maybe 0.3. You can see the mesh is awful. This is not a meshing tutorial, it's just showing you the velocity on the mesh. So I'm just going to change the render so it's rendering the exact same that I'm seeing in the viewport. So that saves a lot of problems. Blend radius is a bit like the filtering in Realflow. It kind of blends, like gets rid of the meter ball look. But I'm just going to leave that again for now. It's going to change my viewport display to shaded. Okay, so now that this is in, you can see it's just basically done basic mesh of the Realflow sim. Okay, so we're going to click the frost icon, which you can see here. Going to go object properties and type see here on display properties. You can go vertex channel display, vertex color, and make sure it's shaded as selected, and click OK. So you can now see what the particles were looking like with the maximum range. That's now actually on the mesh. However, if we were to render the mesh, it'd just be the same. Okay, so this is where the shading step comes in. So I'm just going to set up a basic V-Ray setup, and then I'll show you how the shaders are set up so we get the velocity on the mesh in the shader. Okay, so I'm just going to do a basic V-Ray setup. Just going to use V-Ray Sky for the GI and reflection. Just going to use a bit of GI. Just use low. We'll just leave the default settings. Obviously you'd want to change these, but it's just a tutorial. So right, that's that. Now I just need to go to 8 and hit V-Ray exposure control. Okay, so just to show you a render again. So I'm using V-Ray. Obviously you can see the global illuminations on now, which is just awesome. Anyway, so now the shader. So we're going to make sure we're selecting the frost object, but you make sure not to select the Krakatoa object, because if you assign the material to the Krakatoa object, you'll have to reset up the Magma setup. So it's going to create a basic ocean shader. So I'm just going to go standard V-Ray material, diffuse. I'll just add in like a basic blue for now. You can obviously refine this later. Reflect is going to be fully white. Water is fully reflective in most cases. Turn on Fresnel reflections, and I'll just make that so you can see through it. Okay, refract is going to be white as well. Or probably I'll leave it maybe a bit grey so we still keep a bit of the colour in. Okay. So maps, see where the maps is, we can see refract has its own map slot. So we're going to click on that. I'm going to go to maps, standard, scroll down, you get a vertex colour map. Okay. So all you're doing is adding the vertex colour map. Now I've seen people that do it by using this feature here, velocity map channel. But I think if I just leave that alone and use this technique, I think this is a different way of working. So once I add this to the refract, make sure the refract is fully white. If I was to render this now, it should get the velocity on the mesh. Oops, well I need to assign it to the frost obviously. Just assign this in the viewport. Just render that. Might take obviously a little bit longer, and you can see now it's white when it's moving fast, and blue there. So that's how I've been setting it up recently. I don't know if this is the right setup, but this is the way I've been doing it. I just wanted to share it with you and show you what it looks like. So it's pretty good for effects like where, well, if you look at any real world reference of say a shark jumping out of the water, when water moves at high velocity / vorticity, velocity and vorticity are different things, but they're kind of the same thing at the same time. But when water moves at high vorticity / velocity, it turns white, and obviously when it slows down again, it goes back blue. So the whole point of leaving the particles at min range in black and max range at white is because you see in the refract here, that's what's affecting the colour of the water with the particle velocity. It all sounds a bit complex, and I was really scared about it at first, but it really does add a lot more to your Realflow shots, rather than just having the standard water shader and then the splash and foam on top, because that doesn't really look realistic. So I'm just going to be doing a test now, using a big Realflow setup, and then properly meshing the particles, and then using this setup to hopefully get the white water look, and that should be online within a week or so. So thanks for watching, and if you've got a different way of setting this up, or you can help me out if I'm doing anything wrong, then let me know in the comments, or just email me. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you next time.